Welcome to the School of Love, the place where miracles are normal. Hello and welcome to the School of Love, the place where we can learn practical tools based on scientific research and our own experience towards improving ourselves, living life to its fullest, and contributing to the best of our abilities to the world around us. I am Dr. Grajdian, and I am a professor of media studies and anthropology at Hiroshima University. In my free time, I am doing my best to guide you in building up a life of contentment, joy, and fulfillment while applying lessons learned in school to overcome the difficulties, challenges, and insecurities of the real world. In today's video, I talk about what happens when someone we love, or at least we care about, leaves us, as part of a series titled Things I Have Learned from My Kids. I have been creating this series of videos, Things I Have Learned from My Kids, by recollecting crucial learning moments from my interactions with my children, particularly with my daughter, for reasons which are still unclear to me throughout the years. The series Things I Have Learned from My Kids includes short videos about very pragmatic approaches to quotidian challenges and sadnesses seen from the perspective of my daughter. Of course, there is a specific amount of rationalization and clarification involved in scripting and shooting and editing these videos, but the main ideas are those shared with me by my kids when they were somewhere between 4 years and 7 years old. But now, first things first, that is to disclaimers. The first disclaimer serves to strongly emphasize the fact that this YouTube channel, The School of Love, is not part of my educational and research activities at Hiroshima University. It is nonetheless part of my privilege, joy, and sense of duty to propagate and implement knowledge, information, as well as motivation and inspiration outside the limited framework of academic endeavors. Together, we can build up a better tomorrow for as many of us as possible. The second disclaimer relates to the fact that I am a trained musician and musicologist, not a psychologist, therapist, or counselor. The ideas I am sharing in my videos reflect my deep-going preoccupation with life, my own life and other people's lives, and express the results of my experiences, research, and for better or for worse, my failures and my recovery from those failures. Recovery which is still ongoing. The ideas expressed in the videos on this YouTube channel, named The School of Love, cannot and may not and must not replace the consultation with specialists in whichever areas of your life you might have questions or you might struggle with. If you are new to this channel, at this moment I would like to ask you to please consider subscribing, sharing, liking, commenting. Thank you very much. This helps us not only with that mysterious algorithm which seems to dominate the YouTube galaxy, but also with contributing to the expansion of the community of humans doing their best to impact positively the world and those around them by discovering their authentic selves and living life wholeheartedly. Thanks again. And now back to today's topic, which is what happens when someone we love leaves us. As I said, these are ideas shared with me by my daughter when back then, when we used to live in Frankfurt in Germany, between 2010 and 2013, and I had the sad experience of seeing many of my friends and co-workers leave for a new life or a new stage in their lives. And my daughter as well, she had to change kindergarten several times, but she took it in a much softer manner than I did. And she shared with me these ideas once we went to a picnic, and she shared with me these ideas that when someone leaves us, there are so many reasons why they must leave, why they leave, and it doesn't mean that they stop loving us. It just means that their life has taken a different direction. And the fact that we do not meet every day anymore does not mean that they stop thinking about us and that we stop being of importance to them, and vice versa, that we stop thinking of them and that we stop caring about them and that they stop having a meaning and playing a role in our lives. So, as you see, this entails a specific serenity in accepting life. And I have been wondering in recent months, if this sort of serenity actually is connected, if we as children all share this sense of serenity in accepting life the way it comes, and then we lose it in the course of our lives when we develop increasing this attitude of resisting change, yeah? Of resisting change and trying to control life and trying to control the others. And I was very much wondering, particularly in recent weeks and months, if this ability to observe life with serenity is actually something which we all share as children, and then somehow we lose it in the process of growing up. The second idea she shared with me back then was that we keep memories of those who leave us for whatever reasons they must leave us, and particularly the good ones we have to treasure. If possible, we could forget the bad ones, the negative ones, which are actually also part of life. But particularly the good memories, we keep them, we treasure them, we put them sort in a special box in our minds and return to them every time we feel isolated or sad. The third point was that we must keep in touch, and we keep in touch. So my daughter belongs to this generation who was born when technology already allowed us to keep in touch constantly, something my generation didn't know. We had to get adjusted, or we had to adjust to this new way of life where we're available all the time. And she was telling me, like, we can keep in touch. We do keep in touch. And even if there is some distance between us, some physical distance between us, doesn't mean that we lose touch with each other. And then number 4 is we do our best to meet again regularly and very soon. So being out of sight, out of mind being out of sight doesn't mean that we also go automatically out of mind. Again, this is a very different approach than grown-ups usually have. As grown-ups, we tend to think in terms of, well, out of sight, out of mind, in terms of if people go away, this is their choice, their decision, and I have to move forward in my life as well. And then we simply forget, or well, not really ignore, but by all means we just take life as it comes, in terms of facing its everyday challenges, everyday hardships, and everyday adventures, without really questioning what does it mean this continuous advancement. But for children, apparently, so meeting again is a fact. And while they are dependent on their parents and on the availability and resources of their parents to meet with their friends again, they're very sure that this will happen again. And most of the time it does happen. But, and as I said, this is a very, very different from the grown-up approach to it, where we usually tend to see, so parting ways is just goodbye. And because it also takes a lot of effort to organize meeting up again when the circumstances under which we have met have changed. It takes effort, it takes commitment, it takes mutual understanding, and also a sort of mutual vulnerability, so that one doesn't feel it is always me the one who makes the effort, and the other one prefers to just wait for the others to take initiative. I found it very this approach that we meet again and we make it possible to meet again. It is in our power to keep in touch, and if we want it, even if physical distance separates us, doesn't mean that our mental or emotional ways part as well. And the final point she told me, number five, was that we hug very strongly and very powerfully when we part ways. And then we hug again when we meet. I don't know about you, but the country I'm currently living in, Japan, here people do not hug. They, generally speaking, do not show any public affection. Generally speaking, they do not show any gestures of physical affection. But this stayed with me, and well, my children and myself, we are hugging each other regularly, um, and we really enjoy this attitude of expressing physical affection apart from the emotional and mental intimacy. I think we all have kind of responsibility of sharing what matters to us and of making it known. Brené Brown talks about this vulnerability and um, living life wholeheartedly, a concept or a worldview which I also embrace very strongly. I think it's important to show one's vulnerable self so that the others can also gather the courage to show their vulnerable selves. As grown-ups, we tend to harden our souls, to because there are so many drawbacks and setbacks and failures, and there are so many things we cannot control, and then we try to protect ourselves so that we can protect those we love. But part of life, I believe, is to open up and to find persons who take that opening up as an invitation for them to do the same. Of course, not everybody does this. Of course, most people just go through life as closed off shells and never show their vulnerability. And this is maybe their choice. Maybe they do not have an alternative. Maybe they don't even know they might have an alternative. But for those of us who know that there is a huge world out there of love and of vulnerability and of affection to be shared and to be shown and to be encouraged in others, let's make an effort so that we do not, even if we lose temporarily our ability to accept life and the world with serenity, as children do, so that we can regain that ability of serenity, so that we can become ourselves beacons of light in a world which too often forgets that there is a morning after every night, regardless of how long the night is. The morning comes again and again, and the sun rises again and again, regardless of what someone might think. I wanted to share with you this experience today and this wisdom stemming from my daughter's very limited life experience back then. But probably she would give me the same advice nowadays. She would say, people leave, people come and go, people go and then come back again. We must accept it as such and keep the memories of them and inside our hearts, and then keeping our hearts prepared to welcome them back anytime they might come. This is what I wanted to share with you today. I hope this inspires you to look for people who can accept your vulnerability, your core self, and who can open up themselves as well towards you, so that we have a world fuller with more warm-hearted people who can then inspire the same in others. That would be for today. Thank you very much for joining me today. Thank you very much for listening to me today. I hope you share your stories with me as well. And I'm very much looking forward to welcoming you back here again. Love and peace to you all.